Well, good morning, everybody. This is Richard Wishart, and this is my wee blether for the morning. And it's welcome to Cambshour, 9 o'clock to 9:20 this morning. I have Cambshour every morning, every working day at 9 o'clock, and it's about connecting Cambridgeshire business with the world. And today, the topic is having a wee blether. Now that's a Scottish expression, but it means having a little chat. And I want to sort of take that in context of the rise of video messaging or instant video within the social media world, which is really taking things by storm at the moment. So welcome on board. This is a fairly quick scope. We're going to talk for about 20 minutes, and the subject is having a wee blether. Good morning, Fife. Welcome on board. This is I have been doing a broadcast now on Periscope every morning from 9 o'clock every working day. And hi, Maureen. And there's just been such a massive change in terms of social media with the idea of instant video. So I've been on Periscope, as I say, for about 3 weeks. There's some other tools coming along as well. So there's I do Katch. My video is then put up onto Katch, so it's available for watching afterwards, and I then put it up on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Google Plus. So I actually put the content out up all over the place. But another one that I was playing with last night was Blab. So you got to keep up with these terms. You got Periscope, you got Blab, you've got Katch. And this is still not going mainstream, so it's still a very discreet and very precise audience. And I just want to have a chat about that today. This whole thing about instant video and video casting and all those changes that are going on to social media at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic stuff. And I just want to give it a little bit of airtime and have a chat with you about it. So this is Cambshour from Cambridgeshire, connecting Cambridgeshire with the world. Hi from America. Not blather, it's blether. It's a Scottish word, and I was brought up with it when I was born in Edinburgh, lived in Ayr for a while, and then I've spent most of my working life down in England. But it's actually a very appropriate terminology. So we're going to have a wee blether this morning. It was an expression that was in quite common use, and it meant just having an informal chat. So or talking about things. Yes, there's a little bit of Edinburgh still there. It's lurking in the background. It doesn't come out that often, but I'm not actually aware I've got an accent, to be quite honest, but people do still detect it. No, so good. So we're going to talk about, we're going to have a wee blether, if that's all right with everybody. Let me turn the screen around so you can see who you're talking to. So this is me, Richard Wishart. I run my own business. I'm an enterprise architect. I talk about cloud of things, and part of that with my audience, I use social media. So I'm not a social media person in terms of selling social media, but I actually do use it. I'm a fairly extreme user of it. I use, particularly over the years, I've done a lot on LinkedIn, Google Plus, Twitter. That's been my sort of my platforms. But over the summer, what I'm doing is I'm experimenting with the latest wave of innovation in social media, which is the casting, the video casting, which I think is a huge change. Not too many people are in. There's a large number of people on board with video casting, but I'm not seeing the mass audience yet. So I think there's a lot more to come, and I think there's a lot more sorting out to do as well. Because when you start off with I think video casting is a game changer. That's my view, from my experience. And when you get a game changer in any marketplace, what it means is that the people who were doing the older technology, and the older technology I'm talking here about LinkedIn, Google Plus, if they don't react to the change, this disruptive change, they're effectively out of date. They get superseded by the next generation. Now, I'd like to see a response Twitter were fairly fast off the mark when they brought out Periscope, or they bought Periscope and have developed Periscope. And Periscope really has been the application of all applications that's actually started moving this thing forward, and that's closely linked to Periscope. But what you need to be seeing, and we're seeing a number of small organizations starting products beginning to develop in that ecosystem. So you've got Meerkat, which I haven't used, but it's similar to Periscope. You've got Katch, where your live video can go into a longer term storage so people can access it for longer than just 24 hours. And yesterday I was on Blab, which is multi-screen broadcasting, so 4 people on effectively a video broadcast like this. But the big change that's taking place is that you've been able to video broadcast for a long time. I've been doing it for quite a while in my business. But the video has been specific content that you then put into a blog or you put onto your channels. But the difference is now it's interactive, so people can ask questions. People can very easily ask somebody who's broadcasting questions and tell them about them, so they can like them. They can add comments. They can even direct and change the whole tone of a debate by the questions that they ask. So come on, ask some questions. Tell me who you are. Give me some hearts. Let's try and get some interaction going. I know it's difficult at 9 o'clock in the morning, but let's see if we can get something. Let's see if we can get something happening. So the video casting, it changes. Yes, it is. It's a Scottish accent, and that's why I titled the session this morning "Having a Wee Blether." It's an expression I haven't used for a while, but it was very common when I was at home as a youngster. My mum used to use it a lot. And in the Scottish accent, having a wee blether is just having a wee chat. So that's what we're doing this morning. We're having a wee chat, but in the context that chat is changing. So you've got all these new tools coming up. You've got Periscope, a couple of months old now. You've got Katch, which is fairly new as well. Oh, excellent, good. There's a whole. I'll tell you about the Periscopes in a minute. That's quite an interesting concept. So we've got Periscope, we've got Katch, we've now got Blab. So actually, what we should have is we should have a fourth one. We should have a fourth new application called Blether. We should have the Scottish app called Blether. But what I found really useful is. Hi, Jez. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So we could have what's really worked for me on Periscope, and I've been playing with it. So I've been doing this every morning for the last. Hiya. So I've been doing it every morning for the last 3 weeks. A set time every morning. But we need a Scottish app. We need a Scottish app called the Blether, having a wee blether. But what's worked really well for me is there's a group of people. There's hardly any linkage between us. Apart from the fact that we're all originally Scottish, and there's even some people in there who are not Scottish, and we call ourselves the Periscots. So a group of about 8 to 10 people who are quite active on Periscope. And what's happened for me is that I've actually, through the process of Periscope, managed to form some good collaborative connections with a group of people, about 8 to 10 people, different areas that they're interested in, different parts of social media or different things that they do. Some people not even in social media. But what you have is you have a connection between people, and I watch their scopes, they watch my scopes. And last night we were on a Blab. So some guy in the States had put this Blab up, and we took it over. So at the end he said, I'll tell you what, I'm about to give up on my Blab now, so I'll leave it for a little bit. And if you just want to carry on chatting, so we carried on chatting, and this was about midnight last night. So this is a real revolution that's taking place, I believe, in social media. Social media, old style, has been superseded by this game changer, which is instant video or video conferencing or video casting. I don't know what you like to call it, but it's not just a straightforward, I'll produce a YouTube video and I'll put it up like a Periscope takeover. Yeah. it's not just a question of putting up a set piece, highly manicured video into a post or into a blog or onto old-fashioned social media. This is now where you can video and people can interact with your video. Okay, I'm an enterprise architect. I've had my own business now for about 12 years called Delivery Management. And I specialize in a number of different business domains. So postal, express logistics, e-commerce, aviation and defense are my areas. And I work with technologies called Cloud of Things or Internet of Things. So I'm very much into technology. And through my whole entire career, I've been very much into IT. I've been an IT manager, I've been an IT director. I've been a commercial, I've been putting together joint ventures globally with IT at the heart of it. Yeah, no, Periscope, you're absolutely right. That comment was very good. Periscope have understood the user dynamic. There have been tools around for some time. I used Google a lot, and I use Google Hangouts and Hangouts on Air. So you've actually had the technology that you can use. It's just been a bit hard. It's been a bit difficult. So it's been more a production person's tool rather than an average person's tool. But now what you've got with Periscope is this fantastic. You just need to put a title. You don't have to put a title, but it helps if you do. You put a title in. You say where you are, hit the where you are button, and you hit the Twitter button, so it goes out to your Twitter audience, and then you hit the live button. So a 3 button and you're live means that anybody with a tablet or a phone can be a broadcaster. And Periscope doesn't even, in fact, it's not even available yet on PCs or large screen devices. You can look at periscope.tv where you can look at stuff that is running live, and you can look at periscope.tv/couch mode. You can look at the global stream on there where you can step through the stream. But really, it's not designed for the PC. It's not designed for the desktop. It's designed for the phone or the tablet. So it's available to everybody. It's a great enabler, a great equalizer, a great democratizer. Yeah, it's a progressive. It is an absolute game changer. Believe you me, it is an absolute game changer. And what you're seeing is because people are doing video like this, you're able to talk to them. You get this connection, this very strong connection. You can look people in the eyes. And you can say, do I trust this guy? What's he talking about? Is he talking rubbish? Is he? Hi Grant. Yeah, no, thanks for joining. Yeah, I do strongly believe, and there's a few people that, and most of the people that you speak to on Periscope and on Blab agree with you that this is a game changer. And as I said, the game changing part is that the old social media, and by old I mean LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter to an extent, but it has linked up with Periscope, so slightly different. If these large organizations, Facebook, I mean the other ones I don't use, but Facebook and all these other ones, if they don't respond to this change in the marketplace, they will be second generation social media. They'll be resigned to the bucket of history, I think. And that's my view. So I'm using the summer to not just engage a little bit, but really engage in this whole phenomenon that's taking place. And I've got an audience. I've got a big audience on LinkedIn, and I'm putting the odd Periscope scope up on my main social media. I'm not flooding it, but just doing a little gentle nudge. This is what's happening. And that's the big thing for me. How can I bring my old social media audience, which are business to business and this large business, this global business, how can I bring them across onto Periscope and onto Blab and onto the brand new one that I'm going to be developing shortly, which is Blether. I don't know whether Blether will take off, but it's a good idea anyway. And it gives a Perry Scott sort of flavour to this new media channel. So having a wee blether will have a completely different meaning in the future. Good. So it's exciting. It's not only just a game changer; it's a life changer. When you can be having there's people that you can chat to 24/7 around the world. You can watch sunsets in Australia first thing in the morning. You can watch Cambshour at 9 o'clock. And then in the evening when the Americans come on, you can start watching some of the stuff coming from the States. You can watch sunrises, sunsets. You can have people in a guy doing a tour of Cambodia and Thailand and Vietnam, who I chat to every day. You can have people out on the surf in Australia. Yeah, it's. I think you can. You've got to use all the different channels. I'm a little bit concerned that the screen, if we call it video casting, which I think this what I would like. This needs a name, but sort of like video casting or interactive video. There's a danger if you have too many platforms come along. So we're just about okay at the moment. We've got Periscope, we've got Katch, we've got Blab. There's maybe a couple of other ones as well. But if this fragments too much, then you'll have fragmentation on the platform, and you'll have fragmentation of the audience. People will be in different platforms. So you have got this concept of platform and audience. So not only so if you play around with too many different platforms, you'll fragment your audience. So that's my only concern. And I think we are also waiting to see who the I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree at all with this idea that you can have a more of a niche audience. And I think if you look at Periscope, I went through this couch mode. If you haven't done it, have a look. On periscope.tv/couch mode, you'll see the global stream of Periscopes, and you can actually step through the Periscopes. So I did this the other day, and I did a broadcast about it. And as you go through that, you see a lot of rubbish. You see a lot of nonsense. You see people lying in the bed. You see people in bars. You see young kids having a try. And fair enough. If that's for them, that's fine. But I wasn't finding any good content. And then bang, I found one person casting that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So you got all this niff naff and trivia rubbish gurgling along at the bottom, and then you get these absolute spikes of brilliance. So if you can find the really good content, the really good spikes, and then start curating that into your group, so people you follow them, then you can get this little island of excellence in the middle of this great big ocean of blandness. But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be everything to everybody on a platform. You can have a niche audience within the platform. And I think it's that niche audience that really attracts me. I think on Periscope at the moment, people are saying something like 1% of the people on Periscope actually broadcast. And I think that's about right. But what I'm seeing in my so one of the things that I see that is about, they're telling me it's about 1%. I see it higher than that. I see it probably about 5%, because that's down to the people I'm watching and that I'm engaging with. I'm engaging with the content producers. That's the audience that I'm really interested in. So you can moderate, you can curate, you can actually create your own audience. And it's, for me, it's far better. I would far rather be speaking to an interactive, intelligent audience like yourselves, where we're getting some good comments on this scope. I'd rather be speaking to a self-selecting, intelligent audience of about half a dozen people on a scope than millions. I'm a big follower of Alex Pettit. I don't know whether you've tried watching some of his scopes. He's very much becoming an aficionado of hints and tips on Periscope, and he's pretty good. He knows how to work an audience. And I rocked back on my heels last night. I was watching his scope. I normally watch it. It's about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Yeah. If you haven't watched one of his scopes, I would, because it's a real object lesson into how to manage a large audience. But when I was watching him Formula E, that's right. That's not a broadcast. He's a good lad. He's a clever lad. He's a bright young man, and he does run his audiences extremely well. But I was shocked last night when I went on and had a look at his scope. He had 1.4 thousand people on his scope. He had 1,400 people on his scope, and that's just incredible. I've not seen anybody with those sort of numbers. So suddenly you've got somebody scoping who's starting to draw an audience for his scope, which is bigger than your average local radio station is getting. And it's a global audience. So I think that's just if you're looking for little indicators or things about how things change. No, he does. He knows his audience extremely. He knows his audience extremely well, and he works it. He keeps to a formula. He makes people comfortable with. Yeah, that's right. He's got this little workaround, where you can actually tweet him outside the normal Periscope grouping. You can go down and then connect with him on Twitter and then send stuff to him. And he's got a second screen where he looks at people just sending him normal stuff on Twitter. So he's working it. And I think, actually, to be fair, I think once you get to too large an audience, it's very difficult to manage anyway. And the method of managing it becomes... Yeah, he does. He's got a format. He's got a like you see on television. If someone's got a chat show or something, it's about having that regular way, the regular structure for what they do, the regular way they work it, and you get to know your people who are providing content and the way they do it. So Alex has really got a very clever, simple formula for getting out hints and tips. And some of the hints and tips you can see now, there are not too many hints and tips on Periscope, so you can see some of them being recycled a little bit. But hey, there's so many new people coming onto Periscope that sort of show really does have its benefits. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks. In fact, no, probably longer than that. Since Android went up on Periscope, I've had quite a large reach. I've opened up the people I follow to a large number, so I can see lots of different ways of doing it. You managed to get it. You got entertainment and informative, absolutely, and you've got to experiment. So anybody who's doing Periscope broadcasts, you can do. You go on, you do your very first one, and that's a huge step, and you need some help, probably, and support. Not help so much, but support to do that. And then you've done your first one. You do your first couple of scopes, and you really start taking with it. And then you say, "What on earth do I talk about?" And you've got to find your niche. You've got to find your content niche. You've got to find your content strategy. You've got to work at what you know works with your audience, and you've got to start reinforcing that. So my attempt was to do the Cambshour at 9 o'clock every morning, every working day. And for me, that's beginning to work. Some days I get a good audience. I've been getting about 100, 120 some mornings on the scope. Other mornings I've been getting 20 or 30. When you've got 120 one day and you got 20 the next day, you think, have I done something dreadfully wrong? But no, I just think it's the way that the dynamics work. That the structure of this thing is such that it will peak and trough. You don't have people's buy-in in terms of attention or commitment. If they're busy, they'll do something else. So I think you've really got to. I think it's about exploring. It's about testing, but it's not being shy. You've actually got to get out there, and you got to do your bit. And if you can be in the game when the game is only just starting, then you're in a very good place. You'll hear all the broadcasters all saying the same thing. There are no experts on Periscope because everybody. I do it on Twitter. Yes, I do on Twitter about. I normally do a post. You saw the picture I did. I do a picture on slides, my Google Slides, and I put that up on my main screen before I start. And then I do a screenshot of that, and I put the screenshot to a Twitter message, which I send out normally a couple of hours before I broadcast. But there's not this direct link to the actual broadcast. What was good with Blab that I saw yesterday was you can actually schedule your Blabs. So you can say, I'll be doing a Blab tomorrow at 10 o'clock and here's the link to it. So you can actually not just pre-notify about your event, but you can actually have the direct link to the event and you can advertise and market that before the event. And for me, that's a really good way of doing it. It makes it far more structured. Because what inevitably happens on Periscope, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, is you get clashes. So I've said I'll do something at a certain time, and then I find that one of the other people that I would know that would love to be on my scope is doing something at the same time as well. So we actually split the audience. We're not actually maximising the benefit of doing the scope. Periscope is good in that it's one person who is masterminding the thing, and it's not just you broadcasting, you're masterminding as well. So you're director, producer, actor, research people, and everything else on your scope. It was on Blab. That responsibility, those roles are spread a bit wider, and there's less stress on the broadcaster. So you can actually do things in a more considered way. When you're scoping, everything is on you. So you're the producer, you're the director, you're the actor, you're the sound man, you're the cameraman, you're the producer, you're the follow-up, you're the what's the guy that worries people? You're the guy that gets the audience going as well. So you're trying to do that. And it's a lot of pressure on somebody who's scoping. But you are controlling it. You're actually managing the scope. You're taking responsibility for the scope. The grip, yes. The dresser. So it's full on. But hey, it's good fun. And what's the worst that can happen? You do, what's the worst that can happen if you do a Periscope? Everybody says, oh, I can't go live. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is it's an absolute flop. Nobody watches it, but in a day it disappears. So why not have a go at it? It's what's the worst? What is the worst that can happen? Nothing. So have a go. Don't be frightened about. There are these things called trolls, but generally you can get rid of them really easily, really quickly, and it only happens occasionally. I think that will die out. And engage, and that's the big thing that has really made the. Yeah, don't feed them. No, I don't even. I just straightforward ignore them and get rid of them. But I haven't had any today, so that's good. Yesterday I had 2 or 3. But you get well practiced. You can get rid of. I can get rid of trolls the fastest that anybody else can. I can really do it quickly. I thought it's a practiced art. Yeah, but it's it is something that one of the things that is you've really got to get into the way it's the engagement that you get on Periscope. I can't overemphasize it. It is truly a change, a massive change in the way that social media works. On my LinkedIn groups, which are quite big, I've got about 3,000 or 4,000 people in some of my LinkedIn groups, and we get fantastic conversations going. But the conversations are: someone puts up some written content, someone gives a written response. A couple of hours later, someone gives a response to that, and maybe in about a day or a couple of days, you get a conversation going. And you may get a conversation that continues over 2 or 3 days. But it's big lumps of text of people speaking to each other. And often you get, because it's big lumps of text and people taking entrenched positions, you get a bit of a battle of wills, battle of ideas, which is good. It gets some heat into the debate. But if you were able to do it live, if you're able to have the debate live, you'll be able to see people's face, the face, their sincerity, their trust, and you'll be able to have a far better and far more animated discussion, and you get a lot more agreement. You get, instead of people taking entrenched positions on different sides, and you often see it on LinkedIn that people take, some LinkedIn commentators take a very entrenched position, or they take a very precise view of something deliberately because they know it will wind people up and they know that they will get a reaction to it. Well, that will not work when you have this direct video feed type discussion. So if I suddenly said to everybody on here that I think that grass is red, well, you would see my expression on my face. You'd see that I was being a numpty, and you take it in that way. If you do it on the written word, then you get artificial debates, artificial discussions that go on for a long time, but they don't actually come to a head, and they don't actually. A good moderator on a LinkedIn group is someone who can actually take that debate and bring it to a point and try and bring people on board. But you can do it far more effectively on video. And when you can move into not just the broadcast videos we're doing here on Periscope, but when you can then use tools like Blab, where you actually have a number of people on a panel audience with people listening in, then that becomes very, very effective. So that is a fairly quick blether, a wee blether amongst friends on Cambshour. So thanks for coming on board. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully we can have I'll be blethering. I blether every morning at 9 o'clock. I try and put a topic in it to sort of focus the discussion. And as I say, the big thing for me is just this whole way that the online video casting has taken off. So, oh good, thank you for that. I do appreciate, I like it when people enjoy my scopes. I've enjoyed having your comments. Let's blether, and let's do let's get this whole medium going. Let's start crank it up, and let's use it to our own benefits, and let's experiment with it and actually do it well. So we're looking for good content. We're looking for an intelligent comment. Yeah, the scene is changing, and you've got to be there. If you're not there, you don't see that change, and you can't react to it. You can't take advantage to it. Okay, good. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a really good day. Have an excellent day. If you're working, then have a successful working day. If, like most people in August, you're actually taking some time off, enjoy that as well, because that's equally important. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good. Thanks, everybody. Bye.